Hello everybody, this is Flavio and I want to welcome you to the second episode module of Plankton Drawing Make Your Own Masterpiece. So today we will start with some practical exercises, and the agenda for today is the basic of drawings, and we will make some exercise about 3D shapes. We will make a circle and then I will show you how to transform it in a volume shape, which will be a sphere. Then we will make a square and then I will show you how to make it as a cube and how the surfaces of the cube how do they get the light and the tones of gray that light makes on that cube. So I will exemplify you the way you are creating volumes by the tones and grades of gray that you are using. And then the third one is the ellipse, which is a circle but with a different angle. Let me show you. Yes, I put it here somewhere, just a second. So, this is a circle, and when you turn this circle a little bit like this, what do you see? This contour. Just look at this contour. Do you see that it's a circle but who changed the angle a little bit? Well, the line that this position of the circle describes is called the ellipse. And when you represent with your drawing some kind of tubes, look like this, you have one ellipse on top and the other one is on the bottom. So this ellipse will never be the same, or even if you have a surface which is parallel one with another, but the one on top, it will not be the same as the one at the bottom, because there is a phenomenon that is called perspective, and that perspective is actually the geometrical representation of objects. And what's the difference between the geometrical representation of objects is the fact that we know that in reality an object is in a three-dimensional environment that has its values, but when we transform that three-dimensional object onto a two-dimensional surface, which is our paper and our drawing, we have to work with the qualities of our vision, and vision in the sense of the ability to see. So we have to somehow trick our eye that the object is a three-dimensional object, and I will show you exactly how in a few seconds. So let's get started with some exercises. I brought here some tubes. Cone, I'm not sure if that is the word for this shape, but let's call this just a tube. So let's start with the first exercise, guys. Let's make a circle, and I have one already here. So we have this circle, right? To transform this in a three-dimensional object, we have to add some hatching on this one. Because what do we know? When we have a sphere into a light environment, that means that the side of the sphere who gets more light, of course it's lighter, and the other side of the sphere, it's darker. So the tone of gray that goes from the darker side to the lighter side, it goes gradually. It transforms from almost black, which is the dark side, it goes gradually to the white side. And why, or how to understand the light side of that sphere? Well, That sphere is the lightest in the point of the sphere which is the closest with the source of the light. So in that point where the light hits that object first, there you have the strongest white. I mean, yeah, you understand what I mean. And from that point it goes gradually to the dark side. So yeah, this is the logic behind. But now we have to use hatching to really do this. So let me just draw a circle for you. I will draw with this marker, which is not the best tool to make that fine gradient, but I just show you the idea. So we have this circle, let's say, it's not perfect, and we make another one. And now, let's say the source of light is in that side where it comes from for me, and on the other side it's dark. Then definitely I will have a half of this circle or sphere which is in the dark, right? So what am I doing here? I'm making a type of hatching with parallel lines, for now with only one layer, but I will change the angle a little bit and I will make the second layer on top of the first one. And do you see, there are areas where I have only one where I have the hatching with only one layer of parallel lines. If I want to have a softer gray in this part, I just make the distance between the lines bigger. So yeah. Then I change the angle a little bit more. But when you do this with the graphite pencils, it's completely different. With this marker, you don't have the sensitivity that that pencil has it. So it will be just a weak effect of the gradient that I'm creating with this. And also my position on this chair is not the best, but anyway, you get the idea. So you see, I have this area which is a little bit lighter and here is darker. I have to make it a little bit darker too, and I will choose this area to be the whitest point, because that light is coming straight here from what I see in my real environment. So I will do something like this. So you get the idea, right? Now I will just make some crazy hatching just to get closer to the area with the softer grays. But you know what I mean? I'm talking about grays, and actually there are some very simple lines. It's just the idea of gray that I'm creating with these lines, you see? And points. I also use some points, you see? Because the marker is not the best tool for me. But if I would use drawing pencil, this will take me too long. So, but you see now, you see? And let me tell you something about the sphere. Now, knowing that the light is coming from that side, and this is an object that has volume, that means he stops the light to go in the area of his back, of its back, of the back of this object. That means it will create a shadow. And now we are just approximate the shape of a shadow that sometimes you learn drawing by looking into nature. So the best way to make a sphere, don't make it from your head. First, put it on the table and see what's happening, see the subtleties of the grays and everything. And if you want to make the shadow, you just look at the object and see where that shadow it starts with its contour, and then you make it. I will just approximate something like this now. And that means that here it's complete dark. You see? And usually the darkness from the shadow has the tendency to become a little bit softer at the end of the shadow. Here, where the object is touching the ground, is the most powerful. There is the darkest black, let's say. So now you have the idea of a three-dimensional sphere. Now if we want to make a square and transform it into a cube, let's make the square. Well, it's not a perfect square, but you get the idea. And now I want to make it as a cube. I will make it down because I can't go up because of this shape. So I will start like this. From the 4 points, I start like this. These are parallel in the simple geometry, but in the perspective geometry, they are not parallel. I will explain to you later. And you do this. Well, I made a mistake here, yes. And now, if I want to transform this shape into a three-dimensional, I just choose, and I know, now let's say the light is coming from this side. I know that I have a source of light. If it's coming from this side, then means that this part of the shape is the whitest, is the lightest, and the other two are the darkest. But to be able to make the three-dimensional shape, we just have to choose two types of gray right here. So I will make this part very dark. And the other one lighter. And then I will figure the difference between these two angles of the shape, these two planes, yes, you see? And now we have a cube, and we can, and usually this is not pure white, so we can add a little bit of the idea of a gray here. But I repeat, if you draw with the pencils, you can make a full surface without seeing the lines of the pencil. That you should study in the art books better and by practice, because you know what? I have a quote for today, and the quote says, inspiration exists, but you have to find it working. And that guy is Pablo Picasso, which worked like a crazy for his entire life. So we have the sphere, we have the cube, and now what's happening with a circle if we see it from the front and then we turn the circle? It's becoming an ellipse. So this circle, if it's an ellipse, can be this one, can be this one, can be this one, and it depends of the angle. This is the front view, and then we turn it and we have this part, and then we turn it and we have that part maybe, yeah, and then we turn it some more until we see, you see, now we see a straight line. There is no circle. If we watch it from the exact angle of the point of view, if it's right here on the point of view, we will see only one line. If we turn it, we have the very small ellipse, then we turn it and it's becoming bigger. So now, you see the same effect, it's if we turn it on the other side, you see? So let's make this. I think you understood. And now if we have, let me show you. We have a line, a horizontal line, you see? And our point of view is exactly at the level of the horizontal line. And we have a big tube that comes from here to there. And now we just make these things. So how do you see this part and how do you see that part? The part up, it's like that. We see this side of the ellipse, I mean yeah, you know what I mean? And here we see it like that. And let me show you. This is the surface, you see? Actually, if this part would not be invisible, we would not be able to see the ellipses. Here it's a straight line, here it's like this. Actually, if this would be an object, this would be like this, you see? Yeah, let me make another one. Now let's see the object from above. We have this ellipse and then that ellipse. Anyway, this is about perspective and the angle of the point of view. But anyway, at the base of simple objects in nature stays the ellipse. It's very, very important to know. And one trick in making ellipses is the way you make this part. You don't make it like this. You see, that is not an ellipse. If you have an angle here, that is not an ellipse. The way you are able to make that curve concerning the angle of the circle that you want to describe, and that is actually an ellipse, it's super important. When this curve, it's very important to make it right. Don't make it like that, or don't make it like that. That is not an ellipse, you know. Right here, you see, it's an upper angle, and right here it's another upper angle, and these lines are not parallel, this one and that one. This is not. So just practice. Take those books of drawings and practice ellipses, and you will be able to make it very, very well. For example, let's draw shortly a bottle. We make this, and we make this, and we make this, and this is another thing. You see, this is a bottle. So when you put the branding on the bottle, you'll not put it like that, because you follow the shape of the object. You see, it's like this. These lines must be in a way parallel with the base. Here we describe this tube, which is thinner, also with ellipses, you see, and here the bottle is becoming a little bit wide, so like that. Now, anyway, let's finish with the shapes. You really have to take the sketchbook and practice, and take a drawing book next to you and study it while you do it, because in a very few minutes I can't explain you too much. But now I will go to the perspective. So the perspective is I just said it before, is the visual environment that we describe in two-dimensional surfaces. You see, this is the two-dimensional surface. We don't have perspective in reality, because in reality, if you go to measure, let's say, a huge cube, you will have height, width and depth with the same amount of centimeters. I mean, it will have the same distance. But when you represent that in two-dimensional space, let me show you a trick that I was taught by my teacher when I was very little. Let me show you. So let's take one horizontal line. This is the horizon, the horizon, yeah. And we take 1 point on the left and one to the other, to the right. And now we bring a line from each point to us. We do this. And then we take a line from this point and go the opposite way, like that. And now we do the same thing, but we change the angle a little bit. From the same point I come with another line. And now from here I go to the other. And what we get here? Do you see this part? Actually, this is a cube, but it has the same effect like the circle. We don't see it from the front view because it's a little bit like this, you see? And that means these two lines, this one and this one, are not represented as parallel lines, because if you represent as parallel lines, these two lines will never meet each other into the vanishing point, because there is the theory of the vanishing point, which is actually the deepest point of view that your eyes is able to see. And that is the point where all the parallel lines in your environment will meet at some point. Just stay in front of a very, very long straight highway and you will see that at the end of your point of view will be the vanishing point, and there all the parallel lines will meet. So let's go back to the drawing. So what do we have? We have a square that is drawn in perspective. Now let's transform this shape into a three-dimensional shape. So what I will do, I will take these points, these ones, and from these points I will make some vertical parallel lines. And let me, this is one of them. I will do this like this for now and I will explain you why. I will make this one. I'm sorry that are not very straight, but my position here is not the best. Okay, so we have this one, and we also see a kind of three-dimensional shape that is starting to appear. But now, you see this point? Let's choose a point up on this line. This is the line closest to our point of view. You see? Because we have this and this, they are meeting here. So if we would have a source of light, the source of light, it will touch the three-dimensional object first on this side, on this thing, you know? It's like a skyscraper. Let's make the skyscraper. So we choose this point here. And now we connect this dot with this one. And we go by making a straight line, and then this and the other one. And what is it happening? Do you see this and this one? So these are the lines, the exterior lines of the three-dimensional shape. But now, how does, because we have a point here, how does the point on this line looks like? So how we will make it? We have this and this, and I will take a line and I will connect it with this one. I will take a line and I will connect this point with this one. So I will just make this for you like that. I will make it like this until here, and then I put it like that, and yes. And if my drawing would have been super correct, these three lines, the one here, dotted line, let's say, and this one would meet in the same point. So look, this is how it should be. But this is the side that we can't see, because we imagine that this object it's not transparent. So we just find it out by logic. So now let me put some accents on this three-dimensional object that we have. So do you see what I mean? And yeah, this one. And this is me, very little guy, looking, or I am in front of the building. So do you see? This is a building in perspective. So guys, what I want you to do now is to go and find around the place that you live some art supplies store, or find on the internet a few very good books for learning how to draw. And I have a couple here. They are this is teaching you how to draw faces. The guy says that at the end of this book you are able to draw faces as a professional or something like that. This one is a complete guide for drawing, and I will show you a few pages. Do you see? This is a drawing that takes in consideration the principles of perspective. You see? It's the same thing. This is the same thing. Do you see the lines, how they are going, and they will meet somewhere there? Do you see that vanishing point? Yeah. So if you take here, you will learn how to draw textures of metal and textures of, I don't know what is this anyway. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't know how to call it in English. So if you take a book like this, you will have plenty of knowledge and exercises, and you will be able to practice by yourself, because this is the most important thing. This is a short course and we are not able to learn everything here. But go take your sketchbook, buy some books. There is another series for Leonardo collection, and you will find it on the internet. This is in Romanian, but you find it also in English. I have plenty of books. I have another two. This is the basic of drawings, and this is drawing for beginners. It's a very thick book, and they covered everything here. So please buy some books like this, and believe me, you will be very, very happy after this. And now guys, I would like you to take your pencils and make 3 exercises like this in your sketchbook. And I hope I will see them on the Facebook group that I created, and I will put it in the email with this video. So thank you very much guys for being here. I really want you to grow as a drawer, and for that definitely you will have to make some exercises, because now we had a short video in which I explained to you, and I hope I made you understand a few things, but now you have to take the pencils and do the job. So thank you, see you in the next module, bye.